I cheated 6 weeks into our relationship. 5 years later, he proposed. I said yes, but guilt made me confess. He revenge cheated and now wants to move on like nothing happened. I'm lost on what to do. My fiancé and I are both 25 and very early on in our relationship, 6 weeks to be exact. I went on a trip to visit my sister at her school. The second night there, we attended a huge party. I was dancing and drinking, and one guy in particular kept hitting on me. As the night wore on, I started flirting back. I make no excuses. I was drinking but was not drunk. He did not assault me or take advantage of me. I just made a horrible judgment call and ended up going with him back to his room. I knew the moment it started it was wrong, and I ended up crying while I was laying there. I got up and left as soon as he was done. To this day, I don't even know his last name. My sister was so wasted she went home with a friend and never knew I didn't spend the night at her place as I was there before she got home. I went back home and was just guilt-ridden. Although I knew it would cost me my new boyfriend at the time, I was going to tell him and beg him to forgive me. When I saw him the next day, he was already very depressed. He did not get the job offer he thought he was going to get, and he was very down. I decided that I didn't want to add to his depression, so I spent the entire day trying to cheer him up and be a comfort for him. The next time I saw him, he was so happy with me because he said I was able to make him forget about how crappy his life was at that moment. Once again, I didn't tell him. Yes, I know it was wrong both times, but I was young, immature, and scared. After those 2 times, we were getting along so well that I just put it in my head that nobody other than myself and the other guy even knew it happened. Why ruin a great thing when I knew I would never do it again and would never see or hear from this other guy? Fast forward to 2 months ago. We have been together for years now, and in fact, we have been together longer than any of our friends have been with their significant others. We love each other and live together. He asks me to marry him. I was overjoyed, and of course I said yes. We told our family and friends, and everyone was happy for us. But 2 days after he asked me, I became overwhelmed by guilt. I called into work because I couldn't function and spent the entire morning sitting on the couch crying. I was a liar and a cheat, and I had tricked my boyfriend into proposing when, in fact, if he knew about it from the start, he would have probably broken up with me. I decided I could not live the rest of my life like that and determined that when he came home, I had to tell him no matter what his mood was. The other part of this that is important is that I am his first and only sexual partner. He knew that I had been with one other guy before we got together, but that never bothered him, or so I thought. He comes home and immediately sees that I'm a mess and asks what's wrong. I tell him everything, and he is understandably very upset and very emotional. I tell him that I will do anything to prove to him that I have never done anything like that since, nor will I ever do anything like that in the future. I offer to let him go through my tablet, phone, Facebook, anything, and he says that it won't be necessary because he doesn't want us to live like that. He said that he wanted some time to himself to think and said he would sleep on the couch. I told him that I would give him all the time he wanted or needed, but that I would be the one sleeping on the couch, not him. The next morning, he was quiet but did not show any bitterness towards me. I just asked if he was okay as I didn't want to pry into his thoughts. He told me that, of course, he was hurt and upset. He said the hardest thing for him was the time frame because he doesn't know if being upset is justifiable or silly at this length of time. I told him he was certainly justified to be upset, and we both went to work. A week goes by, and he seems to get a little better every day to the point that we both went out to have a somewhat celebration dinner for our engagement with one of his friends. Everything was fine until Wednesday when he told me he would be back very late from work. This doesn't bother me at all because this can be a somewhat normal occurrence. When they start on one project, they can't stop until it is completed, and there have been times it's taken 16 hours to do. I spent the evening catching up on some work I was behind on, watched a movie I knew he wouldn't want to watch, and then went to bed. I woke up the next morning and he still wasn't there. I texted him and asked him where he was. He just replied with, "I'm on my way home." We passed each other on the street as I had to get to work. I called him, and he just said that he was longer than expected and was going home for some sleep. Okay, this isn't normal, but he did give me a heads up, and he wasn't acting weird or suspicious, so I just went about my day. I come home, and he is sitting in the living room waiting on me. Long story short, he told me that he spent last night with Tracy, a married woman from his work. I just collapsed in the chair. He then goes on to tell me that this was a one-time thing and that she is in an open marriage and he has no feelings for her and she has none for him. But he said that he felt completely paralyzed with anger and envy about me not only having slept with this other guy, but over my previous relationship as well. He said he knew he was wrong, but he just felt like he had to be with someone else just once so he wouldn't feel so insecure about me being with other guys, and he had only been with me. I started crying, of course, and then got pissed and started yelling at him. Then he stops me and says, "Why am I yelling at him?" I cheated first, and when he found out about it, he never yelled at me, which is true, he didn't. He says he regrets the action, really regrets feeling like he cheapened himself in the process. But while he is sorry it has hurt me, he says that even though it was wrong and he knows it was wrong, he said he's sorry, but felt like it was something he had to do. Now he wants us to move on like nothing happened. I have no idea what to do from here. I would be the world's biggest hypocrite if I left him, but I'm so hurt that I just don't know how we go forward from here. Sorry for the wall of text. Any advice would be appreciated. Best comments. I suggest at the very least that you two hold off on any wedding planning that you may be doing. Other than that, you two are going to need some serious counseling to get past this. But to be honest, I think your relationship might be doomed. You made a bad mistake by cheating, then another really bad mistake by hiding it from him, but he went and did the same thing. See, for me, cheating and lying about it for years doesn't detract from the pain. It makes it worse. I don't think you two can build any sort of healthy marriage on this foundation. You can try counseling, but I think it would be better to part ways before you hurt each other anymore. The biggest F-up on her part wasn't the cheating, it was the fact that she unburdened herself and put it all on him. There was no reason he should have been told this. Yes, it is really shitty that she cheated on him. However, she should have tried to overcome that mistake by being the best she could every day. Instead, she dumped it on him, monitored his reaction, and then waited until everything was normal again. Cowardly behavior on her part. As for him, I'm not surprised that he went out to even the score, especially at his age. The only part that surprises me is that he plans to just pick up and act like nothing happened between them. She lied to him for the duration of their relationship, including after accepting an engagement. That in itself is deliberate and calculated. Update number 1, 7 days after the first post. This has been a very rough week. In fact, this has pretty much ruined what is normally my favorite time of the year. Several people have PM'd me asking me to update, but I have just been kind of in a haze and honestly didn't know what to type. I'll start off with this. We are still together. We have agreed to postpone telling people when our wedding will be, but for now, we are still together and still engaged to be married. He has agreed to go with me to couples counseling. We can't get in until the end of next month, but we have it set up to go, and his insurance will cover his portion of the bill. I'm still checking on mine, but we can pay out of pocket if necessary. We have had several long conversations that have involved lots of crying, mostly me, and one full-fledged mental breakdown by him. I'm not going to lie, after posting this the last time, some people were saying they thought she was fictional and he was only saying he did this. During one of our conversations, I finally got the courage to just ask him if he was just saying this to make me feel bad. Sadly, he continued to claim that this happened and how bad he feels about it. I'll also just go ahead and admit this now as well, I snooped. I went to his workplace and started looking for her. I've been there many times before, so security didn't even pay me a second thought. I found her and really, truly wish I had not. She is everything I am not. She is tall, has big blonde hair, and is extremely pretty. As though my self-esteem wasn't already in the toilet, this pretty much put a fork in me. I never spoke to her, and I've never told him I've seen her, but the thought of her and him working together every day was making me lose my mind. I know how much he likes sex, and I can only imagine if she is really available to him, he will go back for seconds. But this leads me to another part of my update. I honestly believe he is very emotionally hurt by what he has done. He loves sex, but he is also very uptight about it as well, if that makes any sense. He has told me on more than one occasion how he feels like he has betrayed not just me but himself by doing this. He said that the entire time was very weird to him initially, but very upsetting to him ultimately because he said just going through the act without any emotional ties was unsettling for him and that he didn't really enjoy it. I'm calling BS on this, by the way. I've seen her, he doesn't know that, and I can tell you he would enjoy that. I've unloaded on him a few times, probably unfairly a couple of times, but I got so mad one night I smacked him. I immediately begged him to forgive me because I knew immediately that it was wrong. He still has never yelled at me or even raised his voice. But his full meltdown did reveal that he truly feels betrayed. Sadly, he remembers the weekend that my cheating occurred in great detail because he had asked me to attend a family function with him, and I had already planned to go to my sister's, so I couldn't. He put two and two together and determined that I was having sex when he was miserable and had asked me to be with him. Basically, we have both hurt each other badly, but we both still want to be together, so we are going to try and make this work. I also asked him again why he did what he did. Well, actually, I've asked him that several times, and he is firm that he did it to ease his own pain. He said that it wasn't just done to spite me or to get even, but he said he won't deny that maybe somewhere along the way he did consider it. The ultimate update to that is this: he has told me he is going to leave his job. He said he does not feel right walking into work and seeing her and both of them acting like nothing ever happened. I did not ask him to do this, and once again, he doesn't even know that I have seen her. Honestly, I am relieved about that part. Do I think he did it to spite me? Honestly, yes. I think there is a part of that in there, but in talking with him, and we've talked for hours on the subject, I just really get the feeling that he thought it would make him feel better, but it didn't. He now feels like he has to deal with the pain of being a cheater on top of trying to deal with the idea of being cheated on. I'm far more emotional than he is, but I can tell you from knowing him for so long that he is a mess emotionally. He is just trying to cope differently than I am. I wish I had a more definitive update for you guys, but this is where we are. We both hurt, we both want to keep trying, and we both are trying our best to heal ourselves while trying to heal each other. And I know it was probably a snotty thing to do, but I demanded that he get tested for STIs, and he did, came back clean. I know that was humiliating for him, but I just felt like I needed that for my peace of mind. Also, we had sex for the first time since all of this last night. Very intense. Not the usual loving emotions from either of us at first, but he stopped, and we eventually ended back in a more romantic state soon after. One day at a time, I guess. Best comments. This is such an unhealthy relationship. I really think you are not ready for marriage. With him, or anyone else for that matter. Seriously. You sound much too immature to get married now. And I doubt that, when you cheated on him, you had an STD test. He may be clean, but what you got was karma. I've unloaded on him a few times, probably unfairly on a couple of times, but I got so mad one night I smacked him. I immediately begged him to forgive me because I knew immediately that it was wrong. What the heck is wrong with you that you thought that this type of behavior is acceptable? He needs to get away from you. You hit him. No matter how upset or angry you are, you do not take it out physically or verbally on another person. I am a woman. This sort of violence is never okay towards a man. Ever. There is no excuse for it. I feel sorry for him that he still feels the need to stay with you considering you have broken him. Good job, you. He needs to run from you now. It's bullshit that women think they can hit men and the man should just take it. If he had hit you, everyone here would be telling you to run for the hills, but the fact that you hit him and I don't see anyone telling you what a piece of shit you are. Do him a favor and break it off and go get yourself some help. God, this is a dysfunctional relationship. Utterly toxic. You need to break up. Seriously. Update number 2, 11 days after the last update. Honestly, things have been much better since my last update. We have had several long, honest conversations with each other, and we are both very committed to staying together. I can honestly say that we love each other. I truly believe he loves me, and I know for a fact I still love him. After my last update, I had to take a long, hard look at myself because so many people were rightfully chastising me about hitting him. I have to agree with many of the commenters that if the roles had been reversed, I probably would have thought it was abuse. Well, it was no different for me. I was abusive, and it's very hard to come to terms with that. I wrote him a 4-page letter telling him how sorry I was. I offered to go to the police and turn myself in, but he said that was stupid. He said that he didn't even think about it because, in his words, I barely tapped him. That does not make it right. I was wrong, and I make no excuses. It is just as wrong for a woman to hit a man as it is for a man to hit a woman. So, I apologized to him, and now I apologize to all of you who read it and were offended. You were right to be offended, and I am sorry for my actions. I let my emotions take me to a place that I should never have allowed them to. It looks like my insurance may not come through for our therapy, but I am going to pay my part out of pocket. He is going to stay at his job, but take a transfer to another office across town. This was a good compromise because he can still maintain his benefits and seniority at his job. But he will no longer work in the same building as her. The only hiccup that has occurred was when we were talking about my indiscretion from years ago. He wanted to know who it was, and once I finally convinced him that I had no idea who he was or how to get a hold of him, he got upset about me hooking up with someone I didn't know. But that quickly passed, and he said that it was dumb to be upset about it. He is doing better about the whole thing. I am trying really hard myself. I don't know which is worse, in his mind having to make up what the other guy looked like or, in my case, actually knowing what she looks like. However, we haven't even spoken about it the past 2 nights, so I don't know if this is good or bad, to be honest with you. Anyway, I ultimately think we will be okay with each other, and we both are trying really hard to make this work. Best comments. His interest in knowing more about the other man is equal to you snooping at his place of work on the blonde woman. Don't be hypocritical, again, about this issue. Tell him all of the details about the other guy if he asks. He wants to know how he compares, and this could eat him up inside for the rest of his life if he does not get details.